Hey everyone, my name's Rob and this is my first YouTube video. So I recently relocated from Sydney, Australia to Canada and I had to give up all my houseplants. I had about 110 that I either sold or I gave to friends who loved plants as much as I did. And so I'm gonna start collecting again, and I thought, why not bring everyone along with me because it's really fun. This channel's not really going to be about plant care or plant tips because I think there are a lot of people on YouTube who give amazing tips already. But I thought, since I'm one of those people who likes to collect houseplants and I keep going and going and going at the detriment of my wallet, I guess, why not bring everyone along with me? So on this channel, I plan on kind of documenting the plants that I've bought, any stores that I've visited, websites that I might find useful, and also the climate here is completely different from Australia, so it's gonna also be about me adapting to taking care of plants in this environment because in Sydney we don't really get harsh winters, which means that, oh, hello, one of my cats has come to visit. This is Lionel. Hello. Ooh, hello. He's got 3 legs. I think he broke his right hind one, and he's just a little baby, and he's very affectionate and needs a lot of attention. You might hear him meowing for my attention. Oh, he doesn't want me anymore. You might hear him calling for my attention in these videos. So please have patience. He's very adorable. Where was I? Right. So as I was saying, so it's also going to be about me learning how to take care of these houseplants in these different environments because in Australia we don't have, well, they don't because I'm not in Australia anymore. They don't have the super harsh winters in Sydney that you do here. So I'm going to have to learn to deal with that kind of stuff, which is super fun. So I've already started collecting my houseplants. I've bought a whole bunch already, as you can see behind me. A lot of these got here before my furniture did, so they were sitting on the floor for a long time and they're finally on shelves. They're finally in positions that I like them in, and what I'm gonna do today is I'm just gonna grab the houseplants that I love and I'm just gonna talk about them and show them to you and see where we go from there. So this is my Oxalis triangularis. I honestly don't really know why I have this plant. I had one at work in Australia. I was the plant guy at the clinic that I was working at. I am a physiotherapist. Not working at the moment though. And this plant got a lot of compliments there because it was sitting right at the front desk where light would come in and the leaves would turn to face people. I'm not really that huge a fan of this plant because it kind of like it's pretty, don't get me wrong. I just think that it's one of those houseplants that you don't really plan on buying. You walk into one of those nurseries or garden centers or plant stores, you see it and you go, oh, I want that. And then you buy it and then it's just really easy care. So you just pop it in a corner and then you forget about it. So, which kind of happens to really stable houseplants. So I guess it should be a staple for everyone's house. My husband and I were walking through a shopping center in Yorkdale in Toronto, and I saw this for about $4, which is just ridiculous. Like, it's not the price that it's meant to be, not in Australia at least. And so I was like, I really want that. And it was this full, by the way. Like, I didn't grow much of this. No, I've had this for a couple months. I did grow a lot of this, but a lot of the leaves I pruned off as well. And I just really wanted it, and it was the first houseplant I bought in Canada, so it's a little bit special to me. I name all my houseplants, so this one's name is Gina. Don't ask me, it just comes to me. You know, I'm amazing. So this next houseplant I've wanted for a while, when I was living in Australia. You can't find it for a reasonable price there. It's the Talanji Zero Graphica. I have 2 of them, so I bought a smaller one and then was too impatient, so I got this one. And you'll notice that's a thing with me, is I'll buy a second plant because I like it so much and I really want a different one. Which is such a waste of time and money. But this thing is gorgeous. I've named this Ursula, kind of like the sea witch. I love it. It's amazing. This thing's everywhere in plant stores here and nurseries and all that. It's ridiculous because in Australia you cannot find it unless you buy it online or you're willing to import it in, which by the way is super expensive, especially in Australia. The wonderful thing about this one is it just sits there. I soak it in a tub of water every week and then it just does its thing and I love it. It's just such a great architectural plant and it's like a little bit of like piece of art that I just kind of pop on my shelf over there. It sits right on top of the Gloriosum there. She's real pretty and I love her. My cats, specifically Archie, tries to munch on this a lot, so this has to stay on the shelf all the time. The Zero Graphica actually just reminded me that that's another thing I'll probably be covering a little bit of on this channel is the difference in plant availability here. I've already noticed big differences in what's available and at what price. So, for example, you could not get a Florida Ghost in Sydney for a reasonable, okay, reasonable is very subjective, for a price that I think most people could kind of just go like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a Florida Ghost. Meanwhile, I got one for about $40 here. And the other one is the Silver Sword and the Mycans. So the Philodendron Silver Sword I've noticed is considered pretty rare here, and people will pay for it, whereas I see it all the time in Australia and I just never thought it was very spectacular, maybe because I was like, oh, it's everywhere, whatever. I'm also not a big fan of like the leaves, I don't know. And the Mycans is another one, which is on my arm. Shout out to Jerry Dobson, she's an amazing tattoo artist. And yeah, the Mycans, I have one here, but it took me a while to find one that I liked. I couldn't find healthy specimens. They were all kind of just a bit like, bleh. And I'm not one to buy plants like that unless I'm happy to buy it as a rehab rescue plant. But yeah, so that's something I'm going to be talking about as well, which is going to be pretty fun. The next plant I'm going to be talking about is the Monstera peru. Now, I will show it to you. It's the worst plant to show you right now because I grow everything in semi-hydro, specifically in pond. I normally make my own mix. We'll talk about that next time. And unfortunately, this is one that's in like a tray, so it might drip everywhere, so I can't really show you everything. But the cool thing is it's on this bendy moss pole. Oh god, okay. I really don't want to drop water everywhere, but it's on this bendy moss pole that I found on Amazon, and I it's annoying because I have to spritz it. Most times I make my moss poles so that they are self-watering. But this, I needed a moss pole, and I was living in a small studio apartment in Toronto before we moved here to Guelph, and I had no space to, make a moss pole and then keep the extra materials. It was just ridiculous. So I bought this. It's pretty cool because I can sit it on the shelves there. You'll see this, my Scindapsus pictus exotica is up there as well. And I can kind of weave it around things. I have a problem with this plant because this is an expensive plant in Australia. I think like 2 leaves would have cost you like $19. Here it was $25, which I was super excited about. My really good friend Emily, who I used to go plant shopping with all the time, loves this plant. I was told this thing grows real quick and is super easy to care for. This thing has it had this new leaf coming out when I got it, and that's it. It's had nothing other than that, and I've had it since March. So granted, it was very cold and we're just coming out of... No, it's now spring, so no, that makes no sense. So I have a bit of a problem with it because I was told it was going to be easy. And the first day I got it, it wilted really quickly, which is weird for me. And then I had to repot it in pond. It recovered. And it just isn't doing anything, which is really annoying. I'm really hoping it's going to do something over the next couple months. But yeah, it's gorgeous though. This one's name is Gordo, like Lizzie McGuire. So this next plant I got around the same time as the Peru, and it's done so much better. But if I'm not wrong, these are meant to be fast growers no matter where. So I had one in Sydney that just grew ridiculously quick. Like I couldn't control it, and it was under a grow light. But you know, grow lights are still not as good as natural light. And this has gotten a lot of natural light. And this is my Skindatus pictus exotica, and the leaves are just doing their thing. I put it on a moss pole because I was told that these plants will shingle when you've put it on a moss pole, but maybe I need a better moss pole. But I kind of like it like this. I like that. These leaves are pretty gorgeous. And again, I got this from a Metro supermarket. That's our litter robot. It's doing its thing, cleaning. I wonder if you can hear it. I can hear it. It's a bit annoying. I love these leaves. They're hardy and silvery, and they're gorgeous. This is a thirsty bitch though. I don't remember mine in Australia being like that, but this one uses up water real quick, and so I'm glad I have it in a semi-hydro. And this is another thing with this moss pole, is the moss just falls off all the whole time. And there's no way I can keep this moist enough, but I'm gonna keep it because it's cool. Yeah, this one's really thirsty, and it's growing roots ridiculously. Like, if I can show you, let me take this off. These roots were not there, and now it's just kind of, oh, the roots are coming out. Oh, whoa, I'm gonna need to, oh, her name's Donna, by the way. Oh, okay, that's nice. Yeah, these roots are, they're just kind of going crazy there, if you can see. Oh, there, oh, okay, we're not gonna look at the roots, that's fine, that's fine. There is now moss everywhere. Yay. I hate cleaning, guys. Anyway, I've got 2 Hoyas for you guys. I'm not a big Hoya collector. There are some Hoyas that I really, really love. I normally will buy a Hoya if I see it and it's a really good price. And they have to have really nice leaves because I've never had one flower for me. So this first one is a little tiny Hindu rope. I love these plants. My friends, Chris and Fran. Hi, Chris and Fran. I miss you guys. They have a big one with like tendrils and, you know, leaves going everywhere. And every time I have a Hindu rope, it just tends to look like this. And I'm not anticipating that to change at all. But it's pretty, and this is one of those plants that even if it's small, it's pretty cool. So I'm very happy to have it at this size. I pray that it's gonna grow a little bit because I finally have good lighting conditions. That's an southeast facing window, and right in front of me is a southwest facing window. I get all daylight, even on a cloudy day like today. So I'm hoping something happens with these. I heard that if you spray Hoyas with orchid fertilizer, that they will flower. I don't know. I like the leaves anyway, so it doesn't matter to me if they flower. It'd be cool though. So that's my Hindu rope. His name is Roland. Same name as the one that I had in Australia. This one's not as big. But the other one wasn't much bigger, to be honest. So that's that one. And this one was a spur of the moment buy. It's a Crimson Princess. I really like the pink on the leaves there. I'm not a big pink plant fan, which will shock a lot of people because pink is my favorite color, as you can see by the shelves. And a lot of stuff that's in the room, my chair is pink as well. This is pink. But I'm not a huge fan of pink leaves. But I do like this pink and the fact that it fades. Side note, I really don't like the pink princess. It's ugly. Anyway. And I saw this. We were at Ethnic Supermarket, which is an Asian grocer here in Guelph. And they have a garden center, which I really like. And I went into the garden area and I saw this and I thought, it was only like $12. Like, as I said, Hoyas, reasonable price, I will buy. Because they're easy to grow. Like, you can leave them for weeks with no water and they're fine. Like, so I can just pop it on a shelf. This one sits on a shelf over there. And I don't have to do anything, which is great. This one is also a random buy. I'm not an orchid collector. My twin brother is. He lives in Brisbane and he has, I don't know what number he's up to yet. But I think last time I checked he was at like 200. So he must be at like 300 right now. And I am not an orchid collector, as I was saying, and I've never really owned an orchid. I looked after an orchid at work once and it never flowered, so it does not bode well for me. But this one, we were walking through Costco and Wes had just bought his bird of paradise. Wes is not a big plant collector like I am, but he does like big leafy plants, so he really wanted a bird of paradise, so we got him one. And I was feeling left out, clearly. So we walked past this orchid and it was in a pink pot. It's got pretty white flowers with some like pinky purpley streaks in there. I don't know if you can see that actually. There. Oh no, it's on the. Is it just in the back? Ooh. Look there. A little bit of purple pink. And look, orchids are beautiful. I just because I like foliage, so I've never really collected them. I do like these leaves though. They're big and leafy, so even if it didn't flower again, I'd be very happy with it just growing leaves. And I've seen some people with orchids leaning a specific way with gigantic leaves and then roots coming out, and it looks like an architectural masterpiece, kind of like the graphica. So that would be pretty cool, actually. I'd kind of be happy with that. I probably wouldn't collect more orchids, unless you found me like a really cool looking one, like with amazing leaves. I probably would, but this is probably it for me. She's very beautiful though. I've named it Penelope. Very pretty, and it comes in a really nice pot as well. You know. Ooh. Oh, it matches. So there are a few plants that, in terms of pricing in Canada, amaze me. In Sydney, I could not find this for the size that it is, for the price that it is. You can find it. It's not hard to find. You can find it online if you want to. But I got this, smaller than this, but still with great leaves, for about $40. I got a cutting of this online, a cutting, by the way, with like 3 roots that were not long, online for $80. So that's, and then I had to pay for shipping on top of that, which was about $15. So $95. And this one came pretty much settled in its pot. This is my melanochrysum. Or I think some people say melanochrysum. I say melano, sounds nicer, I think. I don't know. It's grown 2.5 new leaves since I've had it. I did disrupt it and pop it on a moss pole and put it in pon. I did also get rid of the 2 lower leaves because they were touching the pot, and I noticed that the pot was causing like, not burning, but you know, like the browning that they get from too much contact on something. So I got rid of them because they were ugly and they were just out of place anyway. That being said, I don't mind plants with a little bit of browning on them. I really don't care, like rips and browning and all that. It's how it would look in nature anyway, so I don't really care. I love growing climbers. I love moss poles. I love growing climbers. They get big without getting in the way of things. I'm looking at this one, and it's a very easy plant to grow. I have no objections. It's beautiful. I love how the new leaves come in a little bit pink and then they fade to the dark color that they are now. This one's name is Goldie because it's called a black gold as the common name. I didn't realize, but this plant, although considered a collector's plant now, was actually really common in like the 70s when like people would just grow houseplants, but people grew it as like a trailing plant. So kind of like how people grow the micans now. And it's now a little bit coveted, which is pretty cool. And also sad for our wallets, obviously. But I love them as climbers because they just get big and big and big, and Wes has no idea what he's gotten himself into with these plants because they're going to get huge at some point. And then he's going to have to... He's not going to find me in here. It's just going to be with leaves and me and a cat. 2 cats. Crying for help. But this is a pretty plant. I love it. And I know that it's rooted really well because I can just do this. And the pole just stays in there. It's great. And it's in semi-hydro. And this moss pole stays wet because I allow it to go all the way to the bottom where it touches the water reservoir. And so it just kind of stays moist and I don't have to do anything. I love it. It's great. These next 3 plants, I'm showing them together because they're 3 different types of the same plant. I love these plants and I want to collect every single version of this plant that I can. And people know this. I talk about it nonstop. It's to the point where friends will be like, oh, that's the one that you wanted. And I'm like, oh, how did you know? And they're like, because you don't shut up. So this first one is a Florida green. Philodendron Florida green, I should be more specific so you know which genus I'm talking about. I had a really big one. I'll see if I can find a picture of it and kind of put the picture somewhere. I'm learning. I don't know where I'm going to put the video pictures yet, but I'll put it somewhere around here. I had a really tall one in Australia that I had to sell for a good price though, which is good. It was about 1 meter tall on a moss pole. I didn't have to do anything for it. It was also a rescue plant that I bought for about $6. I want to say $6 because I bought it with a black cardinal, and the black cardinal was about $5, and I remember the Florida being a bit more expensive, but I bought it for about $6-7 from Bunnings, which is basically Home Depot in Australia. And I find that those stores, you gotta go there and you gotta go to the sales racks because sometimes they're just underwatered or they just need a pole and they don't realize and they put them on sale and then you get them for a good price. This one's $12. I don't mind paying $12 for a plant. That's pretty cheap. And mine in Australia was huge. I called it Megan the Stallion, my favorite female rapper. And so I've named this one Megan the Stallion as well. I love this plant. No matter how common this plant is, which I think it's getting pretty common, I will always love this plant. It's such a beautiful plant. I love how the leaves change shapes when they get older. I love how, the leaves kind of unravel really slowly and they're really delicate and they become really, really hardy. They just get like these really woody stems as well, which is pretty cool. It's just beautiful. She's beautiful. Look at her. Look at this. Look. Can you see how beautiful that leaf is? Oh, I need to shine the leaves. If anyone knows a good leaf shine product I can get here, I'm all ears. Anyone who can recommend any products in Canada that I can find, I would love tips. So that's the green. The next one was the one I wanted for so long and I would not shut up about, is the Florida Ghost. I have a little baby one that I found at a plant store in Toronto called Plantforsoul. She was absolutely lovely. I looked on the website while I was at a climbing gym and I saw that they had Florida Ghosts, but they were sold out. But I thought, hey, why don't I just drop by, see what they have? And they had 2 little tiny Florida Ghosts there. She didn't put them online because she thought they wouldn't survive a shipping. So it's gone well so far. This is my Florida Ghost. I've named it Casper. Oh, can you see there? Oh, I can see why people put that. Ah, there we go. Okay, you need to cover my face. I'm dropping pawn. I've named him Casper. I absolutely love this plant. I'm a little bit concerned with how much white I have on it because I'm pretty sure it needs some green to sustain itself. But I am going to pop it on a pole soon. I think these leaves will fade to green eventually. I hope, because I want this plant to live. These new leaves are pretty big, so I think that was the leaf that I got last month, and then this is the leaf that I got since I've moved and I've popped it in that window. It's done well, and this leaf is pretty big. It's starting to look like the leaves on the green, I guess. Ooh, can you see? There you go. It's starting to look like the leaves on the green, which is pretty cool. There it is. There it is. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Gorgeous. I love it. Yeah, I don't shut up about this plant. I check it every day because I'm so protective of it. It's just such a pretty plant, even when it's small. This is the thing about Floridas, is they're gorgeous even when they're small, which is why I'm happy to buy a small one and just grow it. Side note, these are slight investment plants, so I will be cutting and selling from them when they get bigger, but it's going to take at least a year because I'm not working and I need some cash if I'm going to keep buying plants and doing this. So that's Casper. My next one is super tiny. It's a tissue culture baby that's just been put in moss, and I bought it from a plant store here called Secret Garden Boutique. Lori is great. She's really friendly and really knowledgeable about plants, so look her up if you can. If you're in Ontario, you can get plants delivered to you from her through Plantrunz. Tim, who is also from Plantrunz, amazing guy as well. He moved my plants here for me, even though they don't normally do that, so lovely. This is my little baby Florida Beauty. And this thing, you think the price here in North America is expensive? Look it up in Australia. It's ridiculous. People were selling it for like ridiculous amounts of I think I saw someone listed for about $2,300 at one point, and it was like two cuttings, a 2-leaf cutting. Ridiculous. At least here a 2-leaf cutting can get you, you can get a 2-leaf cutting for like $600. Over there, if it's $2,000, I think that's unreasonable for most people. But this is really gorgeous. I love this plant. I've named her Belle. I'm just not very original with names. Belle because beauty and the beast. But I love this thing, and I really hope I take care of it. It's grown a new leaf since I've had it. Lori told me to cover it at night, and it's got a little cover to keep the humidity in. Cover it at night. Keep the sphagnum moist. I think in a couple of weeks I could probably pot it in some pond. I hope, but I'll keep some moss around it to keep the humidity up and keep it happy. But those are my Floridas. I really want a Florida bronze. I came very close to buying a cutting online from someone for about $30, which is amazing. But then the shipping would have been about $50, which makes no sense. And so I was like, look, I told him I was sorry to kind of mess them around, but I'm not going to buy a plant and then pay more for the shipping than the plant. That's just not going to happen. So I'm just going to have to keep waiting. If anyone has a bronze and was willing to sell me a cutting, let me know. I'm in. This next plant is a mess. Yeah, I'm not there's no other way to say it. He's a mess. I wanted one for a long time in Australia. You can't get it. It's one of those really expensive plants that you will not find there, and unless you're willing to pay a big price. And I found one here for $90, and then the person online brought the price down to about $50 because she said she'd had it for a couple weeks now, and it started taking a bit of a turn. Its leaves started yellowing, but the roots were healthy. I got her to send me a picture of the roots, and they were fine. So she brought the price down to $50, and I was like, hey, look, I can rehab a plant that I've wanted for a long time for $50. That's fine. I have a big clear plastic bag and a nice setup, so why not? Let me get him. Yeah. So this is my El Choco Red, which looks very not choco and not red. I think she underwatered it. I think she left the watering too long because the roots, the medium that it was in was way too dry for a tropical plant. It was basically turning to dust. I've named this one Carlos. I don't know whether that's a good idea because I might get too attached to it if I name it. And then it will die, and then I'll be really upset. But although these leaves are yellowing, this is really rigid, and so is this one. This leaf is doing a little bit better. That's gonna go eventually. But it has 2 new growth points. So if I can show you there. Oh, there. Can you see the 2 growth points? So you can see that one there, which is, it's growing, and then that one there. So all is not lost on this one. I really think it was just a watering and light issue. So it was burnt on one side of the leaves. So I think it probably got way too much light, because they're understory plants, aren't they? Like they're not meant to get full sun. So this leaf looked burned, and you can see that it was only that one side that was affected. She'd snipped off those leaves, those burns. And this one, I think that looks like underwatering to me. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. The roots are still good. I've checked it. I think it was just really thirsty, because in the first 2 days that I had it in this planter, the water went from being completely full to dropping all the way down there in 2 days. I don't think that is meant to happen unless the plant really needs water. So, I don't know. Some people, I've heard this plant is meant to be super easy care. So far, evidence not there. Same with the Peru. I don't know. This mixed plant was a little bit of a risk, because I killed one right before I moved to Canada. But it's such a pretty plant, and I really wanted one, and I'm one of those people that will not give up. So I have a 3-buy rule. So I will buy a plant 3 times before I decide I'm not going to keep it again. So it's only strike 1, so I'm allowed. This is my Philodendron Nangar Intense. Is it Nangar Intense or Nangar Intense C? I don't know. Well, I'm going to say Nangar Intense, because correct me if I'm wrong. I love the petioles on this. I love the fuzziness. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Oh, God. I feel so cheesy doing this with my hands, but yeah. I got this along with another few from a store in Vancouver called North Shore Tropicals. A YouTuber that I follow recommended them. She lives in Vancouver, and she said that she sells ridiculously healthy plants. So far, the evidence is there, because I think every plant I've gotten from them has roots growing out the bottom. Like, that's amazing. I want to repot it, but I'm out of medium at the moment. I'm waiting for my potting medium to come in. As I was saying, I make my own pon mix. But I found someone online. The company's called Mixed Medium, and Marissa is the lady I was talking to, and she makes the exact same mix that I make. So I was like, "Hey, I'm lazy. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna buy your product, support, and I justify it as supporting the local economy." So, yeah, but I love this plant. I think people say it's easy care. I killed one, so I don't know. But I'm willing to try again. I'm gonna pot this and my gloriosum, which I'm gonna show you next, in a long planter each, so that they can crawl. I would love to see them crawl, because I had a really nice gloriosum in. Why am I talking about a gloriosum when I'm talking about an Nangar Intense? Okay, let me get the gloriosum for you. Okay, here we go. So, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with a gloriosum. I don't think that's possible. I think it's one of those plants that, yeah, see, there's a rip there, but I don't care, see? I think it's one of those plants that everyone's gonna love. It's velvety, it's big, it's easy care, you don't have to do much for it. It thrives in low light as well. It doesn't thrive, but it can live in lower light. I love how dark these leaves are. I'm so glad that the leaves are dark, and it's not, I mean, look, I would have loved it either way. What I was saying is I had a really beautiful gloriosum in Sydney that I didn't want to give up, because I grew up from a wet stick. So it was just a stem. I put it in water, the leaves came out, popped it in the equivalent of pond there. So we don't use pond there. We actually use something called Dr. Green Thumb's MABGROW. MAB stands for Mineral Aeration Blend, and it is excellent. Like, things grow roots within days. but it doesn't have fertilizer in it like pond does. I put fertilizer in mine as well. Anyway, sidetrack. This thing will always be something in my collection. I might buy more. Like, I want gloriosums in every room here. And my husband Wes is just gonna have to deal with it. Like, we're just gonna have gloriosums everywhere. Yeah. I wanted to get a gloriosum on my arm as well, but I figured the leaves, I don't know, I saw gloriosum tattoos and I didn't like them, basically. So I got a Micans because small leaves, easy. But yeah, so that is Gus, the gloriosum, by the way. I was toying with the idea of doing a wishlist video as my first video, but then I realized a lot of the plants that are on my wish list I actually bought already. So this one is my Albo, my Monstera Albo. I've named her Ariana. I love Ariana Grande. If anyone, I've drunkenly defended Ariana Grande to someone who didn't, who insulted her before. But this is the Albo that I got from North Shore Tropicals. Very healthy and also very well priced. Can I just say, like, people on Facebook are selling like a one leaf cutting for 200. This I got for like I think 350. I think. So that's fantastic. I know the leaves aren't big, but what are you gonna do when you're buying a cutting? Like, it's never gonna be huge. I love this plant. It's proven to be very easy care. I've had it for about 3 weeks now, so not that much, but it doesn't need a lot of humidity. Watering wise, I let it dry out all the way before I watered it. I use a moisture probe, by the way, because I don't trust my fingers at all. So I stuck it all the way down to the bottom, let it get all the way to like 2 on the moisture meter, and then I watered it. And also the leaves will curl a little bit when it needs watering. So it tells you what it needs. I'm gonna pop it in my self-watering substrate soon on a pole. I've got a big pole because I plan on letting this grow. And I'm just very excited for her to grow. I have a tie coming as well, which actually, surprisingly, is a bigger risk for me because I've killed 2 ties. 2. Yeah, I got one. It was doing fine. I potted it. It rotted. I saved it. And then I'm clumsy and I snapped off that root. And then it died. And then I bought another. Oh no, I didn't kill the other one. It's with my friend Chris. Hi, Chris. But it wasn't happy. So the other tie that I had was doing super well. Potted it on a moss pole, super happy. And then one day just inexplicably just decided to wilt. And I'm a huge fan of Kaylee Ellen, by the way. Hi, Kaylee. If you're watching, you probably aren't. And she did say in one of her recent videos that they tend to inexplicably rot. So true. My tie, and they're meant to be easy care, but my ties never did well with me. So hopefully this one and my new tie do better. But I already love this one. I come in and stare at it every morning to check on it because I'm that kind of plant parent, and I'm just so excited for this one to grow. It's gorgeous. Look at that. So this is my variegated allocation microriser. Oh jeez. This is my variegated allocation microriser. I'm not a big allocation collector. I think mainly it was because in my old place I didn't have the right light for them. They would droop one way, reach one way, do weird things because they weren't getting the right light. Side note, I had a Hilo Beauty that, gorgeous, but because it was looking for light, it did this thing where it kind of bent forward and turned left. So it had like this kink in its petiole, which I'd never seen a plant do that before. It was pretty cool. And yeah, anyway. The day after I moved here, which is I think about 3 weeks ago now, My car got delivered, and then I drove straight to Secret Garden Boutique in downtown Guelph to see what Lori had in stock. And she had, out of the things that piqued my interest, she had either this or a variegated Frydek or a really big Philodendron Glorious. I wasn't ready to buy that. I do want one though. And I chose this because I'd killed a Frydek before. And one of the things that I do when I buy a variegated plant is I'll make sure that I've looked after the normal version of it first, because that just means you know how to look after it, and then it's just a little bit more complex with the variegated version. Lori is amazing with plants. She grew this from a corm, hydroponically with perlite and sphagnum. So when I got home, I popped it in the same container that she had it in actually, but I popped it in pon and then sphagnum because I don't want to fertilize. And she's amazing with the plants. She is a true collector. She grows things so they're well rooted. She adapts them to room humidity. So she said that her allocations, she's adapted them so that they can go to like 50-40% humidity with no problems. And she's correct. Like there's no crisping on this leaf at all. The new leaf is coming in just amazing with amazing variegation. I think the good variegation on that new leaf is because I've popped it in. It's been living in a east facing window, so lots of morning light, nothing burns it, and it's just really happy. And like, this is a gorgeous plant. I'm so happy I have this because the green one is already so beautiful, and these size up quite a bit. They can get really big, so it would be pretty cool to have this and then the Regal Shield, like, in the same room together. Like, they'd be like the plastics, like, you can't sit with us. Okay. This next guy. It's probably the dream plant that I wanted. And I've wanted one for a while. They started kind of coming out in Australia as I was leaving. And my friend Emily laughed at me because I kind of went to her and I was like, oh, should I buy one just so I can have one for a little bit? Because I wasn't sure if I could find one here. And I found one right here. Yeah, but $95 for a seedling. I was never going to buy that. I was looking at one online in a 14-inch pot for $220, but then I have to pay for shipping. And then I predict that a plant like this, I don't know if it would ship well, and it would probably snap a lot of the petioles. So I didn't go with it. But so I was going to settle on buying a small one. But we were walking down the street. Was it last week? And it was dinner time. We'd finished dinner. We went for a walk, and Wes looks into the window of this store here called Plant, and he goes, I want that plant. And so I looked in, and it was a big Regal Shield. So naturally I made him go back the next day with me to get it, and I got it for $70. $70. That was really good. This plant gave me a little bit of a worry 3 days ago. No, the past 3 days actually. It's only just perked back up this morning actually. This leaf started drooping a lot. And I know with allocations that when a new leaf is coming out, this bugger here, one of the bigger older leaves can drop off if you miss a watering. I think Haley Ellen calls it the 8-mile plant, so you have one shot with every new leaf. Pretty funny. And then it was also leaning one way. So it was getting pretty top heavy. So I decided to kind of do what I always do and freak out. And so I took it out of its pot, made a big mess, reused the soil that it came in because it was a good soil. It was really chunky. And I added my self-watering watering substrate into the mix to give it some air. And I popped it in there, popped it a little bit deeper. I noticed it's giving off a pup though, which is pretty cool. Popped it in deeper, gave it a big drenching, set it aside, and this morning I woke up conveniently the day I was going to film this video, and it's popped back up. I'm so happy. This one's name is Excalibur. I will probably buy another one. You'll notice that about me is I'll buy multiples of one plant, especially if it's a plant that I'm paranoid about. Unless it's something like an elbow, then that's just not feasible. But yeah, as much as I hate to admit it, I probably will buy another one. Probably not this size, but like a smaller one that I can put in another room, because I think it's a really good. I think plants themselves are really good forms of decoration if you can get them looking right, and if you have the light for them. And I think this will be a good addition to the living room or Wes's office or something. I'm just excited to have more leaves and to have this get real big, and it's just gorgeous. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. I know it was a long one, but you know, I have a lot of plants to get through. I didn't even go through all of them. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. And send me a message, tell me what you'd like to see next. I'll probably do some sort of repotting video eventually, so send me questions if you'd like to know more about me. And I will probably be getting more plants in, so I'll probably be doing a bit of a haul soon. And yeah, so bye. Say bye, Lionel.